Hola, hola, amigas. Welcome back to another episode of Modern Latina and Midlife. This is Sonia Flores, holistic life and business coach, intuitive advisor, and your host. So let me ask you a question. When was the last time you did something strictly for the sake of your own happiness? Not for your kids, not for your business, not for your partner, but just for you. Go ahead, answer. Go ahead and answer that for yourself. As women in midlife, joy is usually the very first thing we put off on our endless to-do lists. We treat it like a reward that we have to earn only after everyone else is taken care of. Today, I'm breaking down the cost of putting yourself last, what true joy actually looks like, and how you can add daily joy into your life. So what sparked this episode? Well, for me, it was a channeling session that I had with my friends months ago. I'm gonna dare say it's probably been a year. And we were in a channeling session, and what my ancestors, my spirit guides came in to tell me was that I needed more happiness, more playfulness, more ease, but more ease in the way of creating rest and creating space and creating room for play and for creativity. And the one thing that I walked away from that channeling session was to watercolor. In fact, they showed me watercoloring by a lake or a body of water in that particular session. And I knew that's something that I've been wanting to do for some odd reason. And I hadn't made the time for it. So at the time, what I did is I ordered watercolors and brushes, and I ordered a book, an instructional book to teach myself how to watercolor. I ordered a watercolor journal to draw in and practice. And I started. But the intention I thought I was going into it with was to watercolor on a regular basis. And I just really haven't done that. So then more recently, in meditation, my ancestors came to me. And the message was to please, they were almost imploring that I enjoy my life more, to add more play and add more joy into my life, to aid in the healing for myself and for my ancestors as well. And the message was, listen, if you're not going to do it for yourself, meaning for me, then to do it for them. And I really felt that deep in my core. So this was a few weeks ago. So last week, and I haven't been doing it. I haven't done it because this meditation came in right in the middle of me moving. I was moving from one house to another. Some stuff was coming to the new house. Some stuff was going into storage. Some stuff was being sold. I had to figure out a way of disposing of the things that I no longer wanted that needed to be disposed of, large items. There's electronics, there's paints, there's all this stuff, and everything needs to be disposed of in different places. I don't have a pickup truck to put all these items in. So it took some logistics and planning and asking for help and favors and hiring movers, like the whole thing. There was a lot of logistics and busyness. That's probably why I got this message. But I honestly, at the time, couldn't really take the time to even slow down from that because I had a deadline. I had to be out of this house by last Monday. So last week on Saturday, as I turned in the keys and finished dropping off the last final things that I pulled out of the house and went and dropped them off either in the dumpster or in storage, or some items I had to pull out to the driveway or to the sidewalk for the bulky item pickup to pick them up. Anyways, as I finalized all that last Saturday, I decided to go to a gathering that a former coach of mine created for women entrepreneurs. And it was in this beautiful wellness center that just had their grand opening last week. So they hadn't even had their grand opening at this point. But it's just a beautiful, yummy center where they do activities like yoga and creative activities and workshops and things of that nature. And in this particular case, my coach had reserved it for us to have a gathering. And I think it was like 14 or 16 women, something like this. beautiful, beautiful location in LA. And what we did is we talked openly about our experiences as entrepreneurs and what are our challenge. Well, first of all, we started by celebrating wins for the week, which how often do we get to do that? It's hard to be able to celebrate all the wins on social media and show it to everybody. Sometimes they're seemingly small wins, and it's nice to have somebody to share those little wins with. So we shared our wins, we shared our challenges and our struggles, their areas of growth and opportunity. It just shared our thoughts openly, thoughts and conversations that we might otherwise not be able to have with our friends and family who might not be able to understand where we're coming from, or who may just, they're in a different phase of life, they're in a different place. And sometimes it's hard to have these conversations with the people in our immediate circles. So that was a beautiful, beautiful gathering. And we're going to get together again in August. But the ultimate takeaway that everybody walked away from that room with was the deep, undeniable intention to add more joy into their lives. That is what I shared. And that is what most everybody in there walked away with, adding more joy and fun and playfulness. And I thought, if these highly successful, highly driven women are starving for joy, it means our entire community is running on empty. And so on the way home, as I recap what I had just experienced, I got this inspiration to birth the Summer of Joy experience for myself. And then I thought, why don't I share this with others? I mean, it is primarily for me to keep myself accountable. And I know that real healing doesn't just happen through struggle and through the hard inner work. It happens when we allow ourselves to receive and be joyful. And summer feels like the absolute perfect high vibe, high energy time to step out of the heavy lifting and experience more fun and expansion in a way that is potentially different for many of us the rest of the year. And maybe we walk away from this saying, incorporating more joy into our lives for the rest of the year. So before we go on, let's define what joy is. I think that oftentimes most of us think it has to be this grand, expensive 2-week vacation or a major life milestone or event because we think it has to be big. Or because we think that it has to be big, we put it off. I also believe that most of us perceive joy as something we need to earn. So we save it as a reward for achieving something, for crossing something more responsible off our list first. We have been conditioned this way. I know for me, it wasn't okay to rest or have fun until all the chores were done, until my homework was done, until I had earned the grades, the A's. And well, for me, it was the B's. I was a C plus student. Okay. But I couldn't have the fun and enjoy until I had shown that the homework was done, that my chores were done, that all the responsible things were done. And for those of us who are women of color, people of color, part of that condition goes way back to colonialism and to the patriarchy. But joy is not a prize for hard work. It is a present moment practice, and it can be found in microdoses. 5 minutes of Marie Kondoing a messy junk drawer, listening to a local cover band on a Tuesday night, sitting at the beach with a favorite novel, or taking a pottery class. It can look in many, many different ways. So I looked up the definition of joy, and here's what I came up with. According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, joy is a feeling of great happiness or pleasure, of delight, the expression or exhibition of such emotion, a state of great happiness and bliss, a source or cause of delight. According to Wikipedia, joy is a deep, abiding state of intense happiness, contentment, and well-being. While fleeting happiness is usually caused by external circumstances, Joy is often considered an internal orientation of the heart that persists despite life's difficulties. Understanding the concept of joy involves examining a few key dimensions: emotion versus state of mind. Dictionary.com definitions highlight joy as an emotion of keen pleasure or delight. However, psychological and philosophical perspectives describe it as a more sustained, long lasting condition of life satisfaction. Then there's joy versus happiness. Happiness is generally a reaction to external events, like achieving a goal or receiving a gift. Joy comes from within and focuses on gratitude, connection, and a sense of purpose. Then there's the philosophical and religious meaning. In spiritual contexts, joy is often linked to grace. For example, in Christian theology, it is viewed as a steadfast inner peace and spiritual gift that can comfortably coexist even with grief. I think most of us can agree that having more joy in our lives would be a good thing. But this is what I see: you're constantly pouring into everyone else, fulfilling your role as a mother, wife, employee, CEO, daughter, etc., and running everyone else's schedules. You're incredibly responsible. You have a job and do a fantastic job at it. And if you're like many of my clients, you're starting a business of your own on the side to potentially do when you retire or to leave your 9 to 5 in the near future. You show up to be a good friend and support her when she needs you. You're a helpful daughter, a doting wife that keeps the household running, and amazing dedicated mother, the ultimate example of what a sacrificing mother looks like. We do everything for our kids to make sure we give them more than what we ever had. We make all the doctor appointments and keep the calendar for all the busy carne asadas, World Cup gatherings, and weddings coming up. You book all the travel, the flights, make the itinerary, buy all the birthday gifts. And many times we do this to be in control because our perfectionism is popping in to take control of the reins. Because we want the outside validation that is what we do to be accepted, to be loved, to be respected, and to feel valuable. We are master people pleasers in many cases, maybe even codependent. I did an episode on codependency recently. If you want to identify if that is you or not, go take a listen. It was 2 or 3 episodes back. But all of these activities, they leave your own cup entirely empty. I mean, buying gifts, I love buying gifts for other people. But yeah, I think a part of me wants to see their reaction and wants to see them be happy. Anyways, I digress. So you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders instead of just being, is what I'm getting at. You've forgotten your spark. You might not even remember what lights you up anymore. I hear this from friends. Like they don't even know themselves anymore. They've poured into everybody else for so long. I hear this so much from women our age, especially in this phase of becoming empty nesters. I sat with a friend not long ago. And, her daughter is gone and has her own place and her own family and is living her life. And she's the only daughter she had, and she doesn't work. She's never really worked. And she just is at home. And she's like, I just don't even know who I am. I've clients who are in jobs and they're great. They're partners in their firms and they're doing amazing work and really high level work. And it's always about achieving more and getting another degree and doing more for what? To what? To add to the list of degrees and values of, hey, look at me. I'm valuable because look at all the things. It's hard and it becomes easy to forget what is it that I really like? What really brings me joy? So I want to take a look at the life-changing benefits that joy has, why your brain and soul need more joy. Number one, unleashing natural energy. Let's look at the actual science of why your body is feeling completely drained. When we are constantly stressed, managing calendars, and playing the role of the hyper responsible woman, our bodies are literally flooded with cortisol, the stress hormone. But when you actively step into an experience of joy, your brain undergoes a beautiful chemical shift. Neuroscience shows that choosing joyful experiences activates neurochemical pathways in the brain, specifically releasing dopamine, which gives you the natural feel good drive, and endorphins, which are our body's natural pain and stress relievers. Think of joy not as an abstract emotion, but as a biological battery charge. It physically reduces cortisol, resets your nervous system, and gives you that vibrant, authentic, physical vitality you've been trying to find at the bottom of an iced coffee cup. Number two, I know what you're thinking. Amiga, I don't have time to sit around experiencing joy. My to-do list is a mile long. But there's a beautiful concept in positive psychology pioneered by researcher Dr. Barbara Fredrickson called the Broaden-and-Build Theory. Her research proves that while negative emotions like stress and anxiety narrow our focus into survival mode, making us hyperfixate on threats, positive emotions like joy literally broaden our cognitive awareness. When you experience joy, your brain opens up a wider array of thoughts, actions, and creative solutions. You become a sharper problem solver. So when you fill your cup first, you're not wasting time. You're not taking time away from other things. You are literally expanding your capacity. Tasks that used to take you up to 2 hours of sluggish, overwhelmed, dragging suddenly get done in 30 minutes of high vibe flow. Joy makes your workload feel lighter because your brain is functioning exactly the way it was designed to. Number three, let's talk about that nagging voice in the back of your head. The one that whispers, you're being selfish the moment you sit down to relax. We carry so much guilt around joy, but psychological studies on stress reduction show that you don't need a 2-week solo trip to Bali to reset your nervous system, although I'm sure that helps. The secret lies in what psychologists call micro moments of positivity. Taking just 5 to 10 minutes to engage in a small, intentional microdose of joy, whether that's romanticizing your morning coffee, turning up your favorite song in the car, or taking a quick walk to look at the trees, acts as an immediate emotional circuit breaker. These micro doses kick midlife overwhelm to the curb because they continuously disrupt the stress cycle before it turns into chronic burnout. You don't need hours of free time. You just need intentionality. So let's go to number four. This part is so close to my heart because we have to recognize that our struggle is historical. In our culture as a Latina, our mothers, our grandmothers, our antepasadas, they didn't have the luxury or the safety to prioritize joy. For generations, a woman's worth was measured entirely by her sacrifice, her labor, and how much pain she could quietly endure for the family. There is an emerging field of science, well, it's actually been around for a while now, epigenetics, which shows that trauma and stress responses can actually be passed down through generations. But here's a beautiful truth: resilience and healing can be passed down too. When you consciously choose to slow down, to play, to rest, and receive joy without earning it, you are performing a radical act of ancestral healing. You're actively clearing away those old, heavy generational expectations of burnout. You're saying the cycles of survival ends with me, and the legacy of thriving begins with me. Your joy is their freedom too. How beautiful is that? Just how beautiful is that? And that's why my ancestors have been coming to me in meditation and telling me, girl, have some joy, have fun, rest. So, moving on to number 5, which is slowing down. Have you ever felt like life is just blurring past you? Like you blink and another year is gone just like that. There's some fascinating mindfulness research from scientists like Dr. Mark Whitman regarding how we perceive time. Studies show that when we are stuck on autopilot, our brain stops forming rich, novel memories, making time feel like it's accelerating out of control. But when you practice mindfulness and ground yourself in your physical senses, really tasting your food, listening to the instruments in a song, feeling the warm sand on your feet, you trigger a phenomenon called subjective time dilation. By fully immersing yourself in a joyful present moment, you literally slow down your brain's perception of time. You expand the present moment. It stops life from passing you by like a blur and creates the mental quiet you need to finally hear your higher self speak to you. This reminds me of people who share about near death experiences and how they share that when they are in this process of dying or they've died and they have this full blown conversation and experience in the in between, let's just call it that. And then they come back to life, they're sent back and they wake up and it's only been a few minutes, but in their mind, it's been hours, if not days. Like this full blown experience happened and it's only been like seconds or a few minutes. This reminds me of that. We don't want to slow down that much though, okay? Let's catch this before it gets there. So as number 6, there's an even deeper, more mystical reason why we must cultivate presence. And it has everything to do with your spiritual frequency. When we are caught in the daily grind, constantly worrying about the future or managing the endless to do list, our brains are firing in what neuroscientists call a high beta brainwave state. Beta waves are fast, analytical, and highly focused on survival and external problem solving. But when your brain is trapped in a nonstop beta loop, it creates a wall of mental noise. It is physically and energetically impossible to hear whispers when you are frantically busy. Here's what happens when you use a microdose of joy to ground yourself into the present moment. Your nervous system downshifts. Neurological research shows that mindfulness and present moment awareness cause a rapid shift into alpha and theta brainwave activity. Alpha waves represent a state of relaxed alertness, and theta waves are the literal gateway to deep meditation, high creativity, and intuitive insight. So, when your brain waves slow down into alpha and theta, you effectively lower your energetic vibration to match the subtle frequency of the unseen world. You are no longer projecting noise outward, you're creating a portal of receptivity. This shift triggers what spiritual teachers call a state of relaxed reception. And in this space, you aren't forcing answers. You are allowing what is already inside of you to become clear. Our spirit guides and higher wisdom always communicate with us through the language of subtle energy and gentle whispers. When you drop your shoulders, you quiet your racing mind and you fully romanticize a taste of your morning coffee, for example, or feeling of sun on your skin, you activate your spiritual senses, your clear senses. You open a clear communication channel and you're able to receive messages more easily. Sudden flashes of absolute clarity, recurring signs, or that deep gut knowing become stronger and they aren't random coincidences. They are the voices of your intuition and your spirit guides finally getting a word in edgewise. By choosing presence through joy, you turn down the volume of the world, step into the clearing between worlds, and finally allow your spiritual team to get through. They've been waiting to guide you, to protect you, and to speak directly to your soul. This is the opportunity for you to hear them. Another thing I want to point out is that creativity is another way to open this channel, by the way. So if creativity brings you joy, this is the perfect state to put yourself in to receive messages. It is easier to hear your intuition when you are creating than when you are consuming. Just a little FYI, I want to throw in there. I'm going to have to do a whole other episode on creativity. All right, number 7. Finally, remember that your joy is never solitary. In social psychology, there is a heavily researched phenomenon known as emotional contagion, driven by specialized cells in our brains called mirror neurons. Human beings are biologically wired to synchronize with the emotions of the people around them. We unconsciously mimic and catch the energy, facial expressions, and vocal tones of our inner circle. That's why it's so important to be careful who your inner circle is. The late Wharton professor Sigal Barsade spent her career proving how dramatically a single person's emotional state shifts the culture of an entire group or family. When you enter a room radiating authentic, unbothered joy, your mirror neurons, your mirror neurons interact with everyone else's. Your happiness literally becomes a beautiful subconscious permission slip for your children, your partner, your friends, and your fellow business owners to lower their shoulders, breathe, and find more joy in their life too. By healing yourself, you are inadvertently starting a ripple effect that heals your entire community. When you heal, when you experience joy, you are healing and experiencing joy 7 generations forward and 7 generations back. And I fully believe this with my whole heart. This is why my ancestors keep coming to me, telling me to please play more and enjoy more, find more joy in my life, the rest. Because when I do it for myself, I do it for them too. So having said that, I invite you to my Summer of Joy experience. I'm going to be doing it. So I hope you want to join me. Amigas, let's pour into ourselves this summer for the sake of simply being joyful. Do something daily that brings a smile to your face, that nurtures your soul and lights up your inner spark. Let's fill up our own cups for once and witness each other doing it. By witnessing one another, we also encourage each other. So this is a 6-week journey, and it is completely free for you to join me. Sign up, and you will receive a Summer of Joy guide with curated ideas to explore so you never run out of ideas. Hint, rest is one of those joy activities. These can be 5 minutes to change out pictures in the living room to pretty frames. I say that because I've had frames sitting there ready to be swapped out. Or a 10-minute walk around the neighborhood, or scheduled to attend concerts at the park with your girlfriends. Sign up for a pottery class. Lay on the blanket in the backyard and stargaze for 20 minutes. Stare at the clouds. When was the last time you did that? Just laid on a blanket and just stared at the clouds. For me, it will be watercoloring and finishing a journal I am creating out of an old book. Simple things that light me up. Over the weekend, I did 2 things that brought me joy that I don't usually do. One, I took the time to transplant some plants that got messed up and started dying in the move. I tended to them. I cut off the dead leaves. I poured more soil into them. I talked to them. I spoke with them. I told them how beautiful they were. I interacted with them. I moved them around if the lighting of where I placed them in this new place wasn't suiting them. Anyways, it was just beautiful. I love spending time in the dirt, digging my hands in the dirt and just smelling that fresh dirt smell. And I watered all my plants and just moved things around. So that was something that sparked joy in me. I think maybe it took me an hour maybe to do all the things just super calmly yesterday. The other thing that I did was I got pretty nails. If you're on YouTube, you can see them. So I always see women with these beautiful, pretty nails. And I'm like, so beautiful. I want to do it for myself. I just don't have the patience or don't want to make the time to go like sit at a nail salon to have things done. And I see a lot of women use these beautiful like press-on nails. And I bought these a few weeks back and I have not put them on. And I tried to put them on a couple weeks ago and I put them on my fingers without the glue. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so not me. But I've literally been admiring other women's nails. These are long, by the way. These are pointy and not me. And I feel like, oh my gosh, people are going to see them and it's going to call attention to me. So this weekend, I'm one of the things I've been working on is my visibility, working on my visibility, working on showing up more. Like I want pretty nails. Like I want the nails that these other women have that look so beautiful on them. Why do I think they look too much on me? Why do I think, oh, people are going to be like, oh my gosh? No, nobody even cares probably. So with the discomfort and all, I decided to put the nails on and it's so it's fun. It takes some getting used to, but this is part of my fun and my joy for this summer is to have pretty nails. So we'll see how long these last, but I bought another set and then I've found another couple of sets that I want to order for the summer. So this is part of my joy is having nails this summer. So if you're watching me on YouTube, you're probably sick and tired of me wiggling my fingers in your face. But there they are. They're so cute. Look. Anyways, so that's what I did this weekend to bring joy into my life. So aside from the Summer of Joy guide, when you sign up, now you don't have to sign up, but it'd be fun if you join me, okay? When you sign up, I'm going to send you a Summer of Joy guide that I'm still creating, okay? I plan to have 101 ideas. I don't know that I'll actually get that many. I think I should be able to. So anyways, I will send out a Summer of Joy with a ton of ideas that you can do. Some will be quick 5 minutes, some will take longer, but I just want to give you some ideas of things that you can do. And I'd love to hear if you have any ideas as well of what you're doing to encourage the rest of us. I'll be sending out weekly nudges, so weekly emails to remind you to pour into yourself, complete with a curated activity list for the week. So you'll get the guide when you first sign up. If you sign up today, it's not ready. So as soon as it's ready, I will send it up to everybody that signs up. And then every week, I think if we start July 1st, that's next Wednesday. So I think every Wednesday, I'll send out a list of curated ideas for the week that you can take ideas from to do something that particular week, just to remind you, just to keep us connected and to keep you encouraging you to do something for yourself. And in that same email, I'll be sharing some of the things that I did in the previous week that sparked joy, like planting, transplanting, gardening, putting my nails on, going for a walk, my watercoloring, all the things to encourage you to just show you like, hey, I'm showing up. This might actually also be more of an accountability project for me. Um, because as my coach always says, I go first, I go often, and I go with purpose. So if I want to tell you to experience more joy, then I got to set the example, right? And that's what I'm going to do. I'll be sharing my Summer of Joy experience on Instagram at Modern Latina in Midlife. So if you want to go follow me there, let's do so. I'm going to be sharing all the things that I'm doing there. It would light up my summer even more if you join me. Share your moments of joy on Instagram and tag me. Use hashtag Summer of Joy so we can find each other and encourage one another. So I plan on running this for 6 weeks. So we have the whole month of July and then a couple more weeks in August to get a full 6 weeks of building this new habit of pouring joy into our lives daily. even if it's a tiny microdose, even if it's I'm going to sit down and brew my coffee and just sit down and have it and sip on it for 10 minutes while I'm looking out the window. Simple little things like that. And as a bonus, if I get several of you to participate, I'll even have a fun prize for whoever shares the most joy of summer or summer of joy experiences with me on Instagram and tags me. Okay. And you know what is the real bonus here? You will increase your own self worth, break ancestral chains of burnout and expectations, and build a lifelong skill of mindfulness that keeps you grounded in the present moment. Increase love for life. So sign up at bluechakrastudio.com/joy. It's going to be in the show notes. And I know you want a summer that feels lighter and funner, even if things are hard or if you're grieving. Little moments of joy add up. This can be the summer you start doing those fun things you've been wanting to try forever, even if that means organizing a pantry. And I can't believe that I would be the only one that finds organizing a pantry or a drawer fun and a relaxing activity. I get so much joy, not only from the activity of organizing, but also from just like randomly opening the drawers in the cupboards just to look at how beautifully organized it looks and how pretty it looks. I love that. It brings me so much joy, and I don't know, it just, like, gives me this little I don't know if it's a dopamine hit or it just makes me feel relaxed, like, "Oh, look at how beautiful and organized it is." I don't know, I just love it. So, invite your amigas to participate. There may be something you've been wanting to try together. Forget the long group thread, just put something on the calendar, and whoever can join you can. Y si no, you go do it on your own. This is for you. You can sign up at bluechakrastudio.com/joy. I'm going to be completely transparent with you. All you will find there right now is a form to fill out. In the next week, I'll make that page pretty and add more details to it, and the guide will be delivered to you just as soon as it's ready. But I promise you, it will be happening in the next 7 days. I just really wanted to get this recorded and get it out there and get something out there for you to sign up. So all the things, they're still being built because you know what? We're going to do this imperfectly. We're going to do this with all our flaws and all the things. So, if I sat here and waited for the perfect time until everything was done, this might have taken me another week or two. But you know what? No, I'm doing this now. I go first, I go often, and I go with purpose. All right. We begin July 1st. That's next week on Wednesday. But if you're like me, you can start now. Start adding joy to your day today. I'll see you at #SummerOfJoy. Hasta la próxima, amigas.